Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen at Spartan Printing again. Today we're going to discuss how to package your InDesign files to send to a printer. While we do typically accept PDFs, sometimes it's a good idea to package your files and send those to us. That way we can look it over a little bit easier and make sure that we're not missing any files or there aren't any issues with the file itself before we actually move into production. So we're going to cover how to package the file today. So you'll see here that I've got a file up on my screen. This is for a local high school's music performance, and this is a program that we produce for that. So we're going to use this as an example. So we've got some images that we are using, and then some place text. So sometimes what happens when we get a file from a client, they will send us just the InDesign file. The problem with that is InDesign works by linking files into it. So when you place a graphic, generally it's not embedded. So what it's doing is when you see a graphic on screen, an image on screen, what that is that's just a proxy or a placeholder for the actual file. So when you print the file, what happens is InDesign goes out and grabs the data from the original and then utilizes it in the place where that image is actually used. So if we only receive the InDesign file, we would have broken links, and we also would not have the correct fonts in order to produce the job. So packaging a file in InDesign is really easy. I'm using InDesign CC, but this is the same process regardless of whether you're using CS2 or CS5 or like me, CC. So simply what you want to do is make sure that you've got your file open, that it's a saved version, and you're going to go to File and then Package. You can also use the shortcut, which is Option-Shift-Command-P. That will bring up a window, and what you want to do is this will give you a good idea of if you have any issues with your file. So again, I'm using this as a good example because we had some placed images here. If you notice, it actually says it's RGB. So if you know that they're RGB because you print in full color, if you're going to print CMYK, that is a good error message there for you to pay attention to. So you'd want to find what those graphics are, convert them to CMYK, relink them into your InDesign file, and then go ahead and package. But for this exercise, we're going to pretend that that's fine, just so I can show you. So if you go through, it shows you even what fonts are used, images, and even here you can see specifically which graphics are RGB, and go and fix those. So assuming everything is linked, and if you look at your links palette over here, you'll see that everything is linked in. I don't have any error messages, and so at that point we're going to want to package. So you can fill out this information if you choose, your name, in my case I'd fill this out. If I could type, that'd be great, so on and so forth, and then continue. So now what you want to do is find where you're going to save your file. So if you notice here, it's using the same name as the file, but it's creating a folder. I generally, when I package a file, I'll just save it right to my desktop. It makes for an easy place to locate it. So you want to make sure your fonts, your graphics, all of these things are included. And if you want, you can also create or view the report that you create. And then simply you package the file. And then you see here the software will process the file to package it. And now what this is doing is this is collecting the InDesign file, the fonts, and all the images into a single folder. So that's done. So what we could do is close that. And if you look here on my desktop, there's now a folder. And it has that InDesign file, the fonts, instructions, which if we preview that has all of the information. This is the report that we were talking about, as well as the links. You would then take this file, in the case of a Mac, you can simply right click and say compress, and that will create a zip file that you can then email to us or upload to our FTP. As with anything that we've discussed here, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or give me a call. And likewise, if you have any ideas for future tutorials, please drop me a line. Thanks!